Alright, hey guys. I'm trying out a new video format here. I'm going to be narrating and walking you through the creation of a single animation, as opposed to, my normal deal of having a sped up version of, creating an entire set. So I'm hoping to maybe get into a bit more detail of, what I'm doing as the animation is created. And hopefully we can all learn something from this. I'm using a battle rifle model that was done by Wave of Lag, not to be confused with myself. He is a different person. Using the Halo 2 first-person arms. I'm pretty happy with how it came out, and let's begin. Alright, so the first thing I do is I set the default keyframes and I move them off to frame -1 so I can have them for later. And now I'm just sort of building up the base motion for the, just bringing up the gun. And if you look there, you can see that I'm splitting up the position and rotation keyframes. So they occur on, different time things. And so I found that that really helps, give you more control over the motion. If you do your position and rotation at the same time too much, it really sort of, I think, shows up in your animations. It makes them just look sort of sloppy and robotic and uninteresting. So if you can help it, try experimenting with, splitting them up, having them occur at different times, and even going into the curve editor if you need to, and, splitting up movement and rotation along individual axes. And so now I'm doing stuff with the wrist. I ended up really changing the animation a lot further in. But right here, I'm still adding some of the base, sort of like animated ideas, like first he reaches over and then he grabs the bolt and then he pulls it back and then the gun sort of reacts and then he lets it go and the gun reacts again. And then he's going to sort of bring the gun up and re-grip it. And so here you can see I'm working on the fingers. Finger movement is really important. Don't just have your fingers go from pose to pose. If you can add a little extra flair in your fingers, do it, because that can really just bring out so much in an animation. Leave no effort ungiven, or whatever the saying is that I'm trying to think of right now. So here you can see I'm sort of trying to give the fingers like a sort of suddenly they open when he releases the bolt, which I don't think you even see in the final version of the animation, but still, it's good habit to do stuff with your fingers. Here I go to refine the movement of the arm at the beginning. It had, a really sort of ugly, awkward pose there. Never be afraid to go back and refine stuff, even if your animation isn't done yet. Because if you spot something that doesn't look right, just go and fix it right there if you know how. And don't be afraid to make really big changes to your animations. Like I said, I did a pretty big change to this one a good ways in through making it, and it really just made the animation so much better in my opinion. So don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to change stuff. Here, I finally extend the animation to 45 frames so I can do the return to the origin. And it's a pretty formulaic return, the arm sort of goes in. And there you can see I'm copying in frames from -1, which is where I put the base pose. It ended up being a really big time saver. That's how I do readies now. It lets you keep the default pose without having to worry about it affecting the rest of the animation. And there you can see how I do my sort of end of animation bounce or recoil or whatever you want to call it. Basically what I do is I just take the origin frame and I clone it and I move it a little bit back, and I do only a position keyframe and only a rotation keyframe, and I put maybe 2 or 3 keyframes between those. And then I just move it down a little on the position and I rotate it down a little on the rotation. Usually not more than, 1 or 2 degrees maximum. And so far it's been working pretty well. It gives, a nice smooth sort of little dip in the animation. And so that's how I do that. If anyone's interested in knowing how.